Hi there, welcome back to the Ginescast. I'm your host, Gina.annunziato. Thank you so much for joining me. I began writing this cast out a little earlier than I normally do, but I ended up adding to it over and over again. Perhaps I should get into a headspace of possibly doing more than one cast per week, because the news is becoming more and more cracked out as 2019 stretches on. Either way, I hope you're not too inundated with this story to not want to hear my viewpoint about it, so while you're here, please sit back, relax, and listen to the Ginescast number 36, Sing a Song of Outrage. How do I even start something like this? I don't even know anymore. 2019 is dropping dirt bomb after dirt bomb upon all of us, and we have no choice but to just be along for the ride. Once again, we are mired in nothing but bullshit from all corners of the internet and the newsrooms, and it's kind of leaking into my placid existence, and it's making a mockery of what I do for a living. Outrage sells. This is nothing new, and I really wish that it didn't. For the past few years, I've been trying my hand as an unofficial social critic, and what kills me is the amount of things that we bitch about daily. We are talking about things that make us feel good about the anger we feel in that moment, instead of applying some critical thinking and assessing why we might feel so angry about something. Which leads me to this story. I'm sure by now you are all well aware of the Covington high school boys who were videotaped in a confrontation with a protester during the 2019 March for Life in Washington, D.C. The story has been circulated ad nauseum to a point that was actually shocking me to how much it was picked up. Once again, the story first made the rounds online. I saw it in a tweet from someone named Seymour on Twitter. He tweeted, quote, "A group of students from Covington Catholic High School Colonels harassed and bothered this Native American protester at the Indigenous Peoples March. Appalling." The link played a muted video where you see this 15-year-old, I'm not going to name him even though the president did, haha, in a tweet, but this 15-year-old was wearing this MAGA hat, of course, coming face to face with who we later found out to be an activist, Nathan Phillips. He's a Native elder and a self-reported, quote, Vietnam Times veteran. Seymour goes on to tweet another video, this time with sound, saying that the teens were harassing the Native American man, making note of the purported bigotry within the video. I scrolled down to read the comments left by people. Everyone was seemingly up in arms about the disgusting racism afoot, and how dare they? We must hold these kids accountable, mob them until justice is served, call the school, call their parents, get them fired, get them expelled, what have you. And then I watched the video for myself. And not gonna lie here, I was expecting a boatload of racial epithets being hurled about, because a lot of the time, I expect the worst. But it wasn't like that at all. All I personally saw, and this is just my little life lens here, what I saw was a bunch of loud, immature teenagers jeering around a guy who was banging a drum in a kid's face who was smiling uncomfortably. Did he look a little smug? Sure. Awkward? Yes. Weird? Totally. You can even hear one kid at one point just scream out, "What's going on?" because no one else could figure it out. And I should point out that all the videos that Seymour linked are now deleted. Now, this is the part of the story where everyone online suddenly becomes a body language expert or a fucking psychic. What unfolded after the video was released was mob justice unlike anything I've ever seen before. The kid was doxxed. The school's website was hacked at one point. Large grids numbering out each child were shared online. Some quote-unquote journalists were snooping around looking for anyone who may know the students and provide names. On Tuesday, January 22nd, Covington Catholic High School had to be shut down for the day because of all the threats they were receiving. I mean, this is crazy. People were ridiculously out for blood based on their perception of what exactly went down that fateful Saturday. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where the real danger lies. Mr. Phillips, by his own admission to CNN, said that he put himself in the position he found himself in. He walked up to the group of teens after they were having another confrontation with another group. More on that in a minute. But the edited clip showed a very bit part of that tale. If you only watch what was originally tweeted out, your mind may take you to a place where you think that these teens straight up surrounded this guy. But there is video evidence of him walking right into the scrum of high schoolers who were waiting for a bus. And no offense, but if you're banging on a drum and making noise, are you kind of not inviting people into whatever it is you're doing? You're not making noise just to make noise, right? You're not singing a song so no one can hear it, right? Don't you want people's attention? If you go up to someone and bang a drum in their face, is it fair to say that the young man wouldn't move? These are all things claimed during an interview with CNN by Mr. Phillips. And I'll tell you this, I couldn't believe the words coming out of his mouth either. What we did not hear about in the mainstream was what Mr. Phillips said he went to break up in the first place. There is a 2-hour live stream floating around and taken by a group of self-proclaimed African Hebrews who were also at this protest. They had a bit of a back and forth with the Covington kids, but I bet you didn't hear about it. Or even if it was tweeted out, it didn't get as much pickup as the first video. No, these gentlemen decided to preach their version of the Bible to these teenagers. They had a wide array of greatest hits from their protest, like, saying that homosexuality is completely condemned in the Bible. They referred to gay people as, quote, faggots. They were telling a black teen in the crowd of high schoolers that his friends there are going to one day, quote, harvest his organs, so he should probably get away from them. They also said that Donald Trump is a homosexual because apparently there's a picture of him in drag kissing Rudy Giuliani circling around on the internet because, Photoshop is not a thing. Yes, these are all things that were said in the 2-hour video. And it's the 2-hour video that Twitter really didn't bother viewing. And now look where we're at. But you don't have to take my word for it. I promise you I will link the 2-hour full live stream so you can get your own take on it if you so wish. And that's what any good journalist should do. I'm not calling myself a journalist. I'm just saying what they should do. They should present all sides of a story as much as they can and let the audience come to their own conclusions about it. And if you don't have the time to do so, you best be damn sure your audience has access to your research. But people online don't do that, and they didn't do that here. No, like I explained before, it was time to put an end to all of this racism, this bigotry, this intolerance and division by... what did people do? They embodied the ideals of some of the worst and most ruthless leaders in history, finding people out, exposing them, getting their information, attempting to crush and sabotage only because you feel slighted about this situation that you weren't even a part of. People online tried, and they are still to this day trying to ruin these students' lives based on nothing but a perception of what happened. That's a major part of what happened here. Because holy shit, I didn't realize that it was, quote, racist to stand there smirking. One of the more interesting things to come out of this was the violent sort of rhetoric coming from the left side of Twitter. I have been in the past kind of making fun of the right side of things, but after this whole catastrophe that happened, I'm back to making fun of the left because I can't see anybody but them to make fun of right now. Are there the objective cringe-servatives out there trying to milk this story for all it's worth? Oh, you best believe. But there's an overwhelming wrong, quote-unquote, side here, in my opinion. That's what I think is going on right now. Because these are the folks who just a week ago, were making fun of the conservatives for being upset over a Gillette ad. Now, you guys are upset by a 15-year-old smirking, a bunch of teens being a bunch of dumbasses, and a proven incorrect account that they were saying things like build the wall in response. And here's some of the highlights of how Twitter reacted, or I guess maybe I should call them lowlights. From obscure blue checkmark Anne Helen Peterson, one theme of the conversations over the past 24 hours equals how deeply familiar this look is. It's the look of white patriarchy, of course, but that familiarity, that banality, is part of what prompts the visceral reaction. This isn't spectacular. It's life in America. With a photo of the 15-year-old right next to a smiling Brett Kavanaugh. White patriarchy. I mean, is that even a phrase? I didn't realize that was a phrase until this came out. Ousted CNN host Reza Aslan said this, which he proudly keeps up on his Twitter account. Honest question. Have you ever seen a more punchable face than this kid's? Another inexplicable blue checkmark named Uncle Shoes. I don't know. I've got a trio of tweets for you here. If you are a true fan of shoes, I want you to fire on any of these red hat bitches when you see them. On sight. Second one, none of you red hat bitches will ever step up in real life. And finally, fire on the MAGA cocksuckers. On sight. Finally, Wheeler Walker Jr., who I guess is someone who has fans of something, he said, I know I have fans in Paris Hills, Kentucky. If you know this little shit, punch him in the nuts and send me the video of it, and I'll send you all my albums on vinyl, autographed. You've got to be so far up your ass to think that, committing a felony is enough to warrant your autograph, you dick. Why is this okay? On what planet are these examples of sane individuals? There's honestly no justification in acting like this, and it's upsetting that so many people think there is one. It is disturbing that people who once said there is absolutely no making fun of any of the teens from Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, they're now gleefully talking about punching Covington Catholic High School students in the face. And there is no acknowledgement of this, which is what is most frustrating for me. These are things that just sort of exist and hang in the air until the next big thing comes out to cause outrage. Like, for example, there's now allegations that former Covington students wore blackface during a 2015 basketball game. Oh, and don't forget about the extra videos that keep popping up after all of this. Apparently, there's another video of a reported Covington High School teenager who said something like, oh, what was the nice phrase that he said? It's not rape if you enjoy it. He said that out loud and just shocking everybody. The worst offense there is the fact that you said an internet meme out loud in public. That is the cringiest thing you could have possibly said. There's nothing cute about that, and I condemn anybody who says that shit out loud. I can't understand these folks who bring up memes in real life. I just don't like it. We're all on the internet. Stop it. Don't worry. There's another video that came out because the Covington high schoolers, they totally harassed two women during the March for Life. You know how I know this? Because it was a 6 or 7 second video of them screaming things like MAGA, MAGA, MAGA. And it started with the teens yelling at these girls. And, she was turning around saying something to them. But, of course we can't ever know because they didn't videotape the whole thing. So what all happened? I don't know. I hate to be the person who says, she was asking for it. But I can't imagine any kind of scenario where a person walks by another person minding their own business and just starts screaming MAGA at them. That doesn't make a bit of sense to me. We have discovered a narrative in this world that paints these teens and paints this imaginary white male Catholic Christian thing. We've painted them in a bad light. And no matter what kind of opposition comes forth, no matter how many videos prove that whatever was said is incorrect or inaccurate, we have to stick with what we put out there and we gotta run with it. We are not allowed to break or question this narrative. We have a narrative that has been sewn so deep into the fabric of this country that now staring at someone and smiling is considered a symbol of white supremacy. This is a really, really disturbing trend that keeps cropping up this year, and the year of dumbness that it is, and it is high time we learn how to weed it out and cut it out. And people are trying. Oh, they're trying hard. Here are some highlights of people, journalists even, apologizing for not getting the full story. Jamie Lee Curtis, the actress, said, "There are two sides to every story. I made a snap judgment based on a photograph, and I know better than to judge a book by its cover. I wasn't there. I shouldn't have commented. I'm glad there wasn't violence. I hope these two men can meet and find common ground, as can we all." Applause. That's great. I'm very glad to see that. Quote-unquote news wunderkind Philip DeFranco on YouTube tweeted this: "I am now seeing all the different angles and footage of the incident with the Native Americans and Covington Catholic High School students that I commented on yesterday, and I will be deleting my previous tweet. I should have waited until I got more details instead of jumping on it so fast." And blah-de-blah-de-blah. Get it, you get it, you understand. He goes on to virtue signal a little bit, I don't care. CNN commentator and host S.E. Cup tweeted this: "Hey guys, seeing all the additional videos now, and I 100% regret reacting too quickly to the Covington story. I wish I had the fuller picture before weighing in, and I'm truly sorry." There will be the occasional person, the occasional cringe-servative, if you will, who will not forgive, but I prefer to base people on their actions going forward. I mean, you'd think a competent journalist would get all the facts before making a report, but you know what? That's just me. However, I think I have to accept this, that they have these people in the world who are just at this point completely beyond help. So beyond help that they literally see Nazi imagery everywhere. And here's some examples of that. Our favorite Alyssa Milano tweeted this: "The red MAGA hat is the new white hood. Without white boys being able to empathize with other people, humanity will continue to destroy itself. First thoughts when I wake up, hashtag." That's a really, really shitty first thought to have when you wake up. When I first wake up, it's mostly like, oh crap, I have to go to work. But usually I'm smiling when I wake up. I just feel sorry for her. I don't, but you know what I mean. And then here's another inexplicable blue check mark. Have you noticed that all of my people that I've put in this cast are blue check marked? Jerry Saltz. Hashtag MAGA, the American swastika. This kind of thinking is dangerous. This is no longer amusing to me. And like I said before, I have somewhat fancied myself as the millennial Camille Paglia, analyzing societal trends in reaction to large news stories, but I try to offer solutions as to how I think we can all get along. And you know what? I'm sorry, I don't really see that possibility anymore. Not right now, anyway. At this very moment, I don't see any way out of this hell on earth that we have put ourselves in. Yes, we did this to ourselves. We're the ones who live in this permanent state of needing so badly to blame someone else for how we feel. We're the ones sowing the seeds of division. We are watering them, we're tending to them, we're making them bloom beautifully into a bunch of corpse flowers or Audrey 2s. And what we haven't quite realized yet is that all of this anger and all of this muck and mess, it does not come from one specific place. There is a wide array of things, a lot of sequence of events that got us here. And at this point, unless you had a shitload of time on your hands, it would be near impossible to find and pinpoint a source. So maybe we should just stop looking for it. That's what I would do. But we can't. Why? Because we just care too much. We have to pin our anger, our inner anger, on someone else. Because you know what? Doing that it helps explain it all away a little bit easier. It's much easier to analyze another person than it is to flip that mirror around and look at yourself. But you know what? I cannot, and I will not, ever tell anyone what they should or should not care about. Because you know what? I don't like when people do that to me, so I don't do it to other people, or at least I try my damnedest to not. I've just been living my life in the here and now. And what I see in the here and now is a whole lot of misfiring and a lot of misplaced anger over something. I say this because I feel a lot of anger lately, and I don't really know where it's coming from. And I don't know what to do to hammer it out. What I do know is that we all have some serious soul searching to do, and we got to do it before it's too late. I cannot grasp folks who do not practice what they preach, because I don't see how you can just sit there and only get your news from one single solitary source. How in this society, in current year 2019, are we so woke, yet so close-minded at the same time? When did treating your fellow man like a piece of shit become an admirable and desirable thing to do? Why are we so obsessed with having the numbers on our side rather than getting together with people who are out there to seek the truth of the matter? What the literal fuck happened to the world? We project. That's a big part of it. We are projecting our feelings onto other people all the time. It is just what we do as we learn to relate to one another. But we have to learn how to separate our first instincts from the cold, hard truth of the matter. Because you know what? Getting a vibe off of someone is fine. That's how you learn to kind of navigate on who you should and shouldn't talk to. We all have that first instinct of something. But I think right now we are taking it to another, I gotta say this word again, to dangerous levels where we're just running with a thing that sounds good and that we can hold that stick of justice and lead the parade down the road. We're running with it. And we are running with it hard. And maybe the first step, I'm going to try to offer a solution here, but maybe the first step on how not to do that is to question. Just question everything. Question what you see. Question why someone chose those particular words to give you a story. Question who has something to gain by sharing only certain aspects of a story. Question when the timing of the story came out. Question where things are being spread first in order to pick up the most momentum. Because when we sing this song of outrage for far too long, the lyrics will have less and less meaning as it goes on and on. Because no song can last forever. They all have to come to its natural end point. Think about it. Do you want your song to end in a short burst and a wail? Or find its natural finale in a harmonized outro? Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Ginescast. I'm working hard on these, and I think surrounding the yelling and stuff with the news story is probably my best bet to do. That is what I'm going to do going forward, and we'll just go from there. Hopefully now that I'm on iTunes, I can maybe invite people on and we can discuss news stories together. That would be a lot of fun for me. And I hope that you find it fun too. These are very important issues to me, and I hope that they're important to you. And I know that some people may not entirely care about everything that I say here, that the internet blending with the mainstream is not the coolest topic to talk about, but it's basically what I do with my days. I just am online and I just am in the newsroom, so why not make a nice harmony out of them? I don't know. We're having fun, and I very much appreciate you listening. The Ginescast comes out every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube and iTunes. If you like this video, please give it a like, please leave me a comment below, or share it with someone you think would like it. If you want more from me, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram @HelloGines, or shoot me an email at gina.annunziato@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Ginescast. I'm your host, Gina.Annunziato, and I'll see you next time. Take care.